राधिका दी।
श्री गिरिराज गोवर्धन की जय, श्री गुरुदेव की जय। कृष्णा प्रसादेन समस्त शैला साम्राज्यमाप्नोति च वरिण्योऽपि शक्रास्य या प्राप बलिं ससाक्षात् गोवर्धनो मे दिशताम् अभीष्टाम् स्वपृष्ठहस्तं भुजसो कुमाया सुखानुभूते अतिभूमिवृत्तये महेन्द्र वज्रा हतिमापि अजानन् गोवर्धनो मे दिशतामभीष्टाम् यत्रैव कृष्णो वृषभानुपुत्र्या दानं गृहीतुं कलहं वितेन श्रुते स्पृहायात्रमहति अथ श्री गोवर्धनो मे दिशतामभीष्टाम् स्नात्वा सरस्वा सुसमेरहस्ति यत्रैव निपादिपरागधूलि अलोलयन्ते अतिचारुताश्री गोवर्धनो मे दिशतामभीष्टाम् कस्तूरिकाब्धि सहितां किमात्रेति तुहं प्रभो स्वस्य मुहुर्वितान्वान् नैसर्गिकास्येष्या सुगन्धाय गोवर्धना मे दिशतामभीष्टाम् वंशप्रतिध्वनि अनुसराता दिदृक्सवो यत्र हरिण्या यन्त्या लभन्ते न हि विस्मितास्ता गोवर्धनो मे दिशतामभीष्टाम् यत्रैव गङ्गाम् अनुनाविराधा अरोयमध्ये तु निमग्ननुका कृष्णो हि राधानुकलो बभूषा गोवर्धनो मे दिशतामभीष्टाम् विना भवेत् किं हरिदासवर्या पदाश्रयं भक्ति अथाश्रयामि यमेव सा प्रेम निज सायो श्री गोवर्धनो मे दिशितामदिशम् एतत् पठेद्यो एतत् पठेद्यो हरिदास्य वर्या महानुभावाष्टकम् अरचिता श्रीराधिका धवयोपदात्या दास्यां सविन्दे अचिरेण साक्षात् गोवर्धनो मे दिशतामभीष्टाम् गोवर्धनो मे दिशतामभीष्टाम् गोवर्धनो मे दिशतामभीष्टाम् गोवर्धनो मे दिशतामभीष्टाम् जय गिरिराजा जय गोवर्धना जय गिरिराजा जय गोवर्धना जय गिरिराजा जय गोवर्धना जय गिरिराजा जय गोवर्धना जय Haridasa Jaya Haridasa Haridasa Jaya Haridasya Jaya Haridasya Jaya Haridasya Jaya Haridasya Jaya Haridasya Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jai Jaya Gurudev Jai Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jai Jaya Prabhupada Jai Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Guru Parampara 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 Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari Bol.
Shripad Vaikanas Maharaji, can you please do the Jayadwani?
Okay. Jai Jai Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Radha Damodar Radha Madan Mohan Radha Govinda Radha Gopinath Chuki Jai Jai Nitilila Bhavishta Om Vishnupad Asto Tarsat Sri Simad Abhaya Charnarvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Nitilila Bhavishta Om Vishnupad Asto Tarsat Sri Simad Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Raj Ki Jai Jai Nityalita Bhavishta Om Vishnupad Asto Tarsat Sri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Raj Ki Jai Jai Nityalita Bhavishta Om Vishnupad Asto Tarsat Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai Mahabhagavad Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Saptam Goswami Srila Sachitananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Gaurivedanta Charya Srila Baladev Vidya Bhushan Prabhu Ki Jai Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai Shri Narottam Srinivas Shamananda Prabhu Traya Ki Jai Shri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Rup Shri Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Sad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Sarup Damodar Roy Ramananda Ari Gaur Parshavindi Ki Jai Namacharya Shahadas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Zigaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vindi Ki Jai Shri Navadvitam Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Jamuna Ganga Tulasi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Nandini Shrimati Radharani Ki Jai Shrimati Lalita Shrimati Vishaka Aryasta Sakya Vindi Ki Jai Shri Rup Manjari Shri Radhi Manjari Ari Manjari Vindi Ki Jai Shri Purnamasi Devi Ki Jai Shri Vrinda Devi Ki Jai Shri Gopishwar Mahadev Ki Jai Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakraju Ki Jai Bhakta Vignavinas Shri Narsingha Bhagavan Ki Jai Bhakta Raj Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Harinam Prabhu Ki Jai, Shri Bhuvana Mangala Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Brihat Pradanga Ki Jai, Shri Braj Mando Parikram Ki Jai, Urjvat Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari 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 Bol.
Jai, thank you so much, Maharaji. Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaye Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि श्री गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So first of all, offering my unlimited obeisances unto the dust of the lotus feet of my Diksha Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupad, Stotara Satashishman, Shuddha Bhakti Vigan Bharti Gosai Maharaj, and the same unlimited Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam unto the dust of the lotus feet of my Harinam Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupad, Stotara Satashishman, Shuddha Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj, and to our entire Rupanu Guru Varga, unto all of the Vaishnavs, Vaishnavis, who are, were, and will be, and unto Shripad Bhaktivedanta Tiridandi Maharaj, Shripad Bhaktivedanta Vaikanas Maharaj, Shripad Bhaktivedanta Shuddhadvaiti Maharaj, and all of the devotees in this attendance of this virtual parikrama, my Dandavat Pranam. So welcome today, day 13 of our virtual Brajmanda Parikrama. Today, by the causeless mercy of Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, our Guru Varga, Srila Gurudev, Srila Prabhupada, we will be guided by our illustrious Sannyasigan under the guidance of our Gurujan, going to the southern border of Govardhan, beginning with Dana-ghati, and then continuing on to Anyora, then to Govinda-kunda, Punchari, Surabhi-kunda, and also discussing perhaps the forgiveness of Lord Indra at Govinda-kunda, as well as the glories of Shri Madhavendra Puri Pad. So Shripad Sudadwaiti Maharaj will begin with speaking on Dana-ghati, and then we'll continue with Tridandi Maharaj, and then concluding with Vaikanas Maharaj. Haribol. So
Hare
please,
Krishna,
Maharaj.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu daivacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripam tamanam Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Parindra Badalam Harim. So, we have just taken again the darshan of Haridev next to Manasi Ganga, and also to the small lane we are proceeding towards Govardhan itself, the main bulk of the hill. And there we go through a small lane. Gurudev would take us through a small lane. Don't forget to buy a garland and some milk, because we're going to Dana-ghati, crossing the big Mathura road, which didn't exist before. It was there that actually Dana-ghati was the passage between through Govardhan, but now they have made it a little further down. So we come to the parikrama marg itself, we bow down, and then 50 meters on the right, we enter an open area, and there we see Giriraj. And there is a special shila on which we offer garlands and milk, circumambulating it like this. So this is called Dana-ghati. And Dana-ghati is a subject of two books. Kaumudi and Chintamani. Dankeli Kaumudi and Dankeli Chintamani. When Sriman Mahaprabhu left this world, Raghunath Das became devastated. And then very quickly after him, after Mahaprabhu, Swarup Damodar Goswami left this world. So he couldn't stay in Puri. Every place in Puri reminded him of his two Prabhus, Mahaprabhu and Swarup Damodar. Remember, he was Swarupira Raghu, the Raghunath of Swarup, his Siksha Guru. And he decided, I'm going to Vrindavan and I'm going to throw myself from Govardhan. So Mahaprabhu gave me a Govardhan Shila, and one Gunjamala. So thinking of Radharani, which is represented by the Gunjamala, and holding Govardhan, I will jump and finish my life, and hopefully I'll take birth again here in Vrindavan so I can serve Srimati Radhika. This is my aspiration. But imagine when such a devotee came to Vrindavan, when Rupa and Sanatana Goswami started to hear from him, they said, this devotee is like a rasgulla. You press it and sweet juice of Harikatha is coming out. So they forbade him to put his plan to execution, to commit suicide, and they sent him to Radhakund. Rupa Goswami gave him Lalita Madhav. Now, Lalita Madhav is full of mood of separation. Then Raghunath Goswami began to fast, become so emaciated. Sanatana Goswami chastised Rupa and said, are you mad? Do you want to kill the poor fellow? So under the pretext of correcting Lalit Madhav, he exchanged to him against Dankeli Chintamani. And this Dankeli Chintamani described the pastimes that took place there. Now, the sages in Govinda-kunda were about to make a sacrifice on the request of Vasudeva for the welfare of Krishna. And then the news spread that any girl bringing some milk products, some ghee, some yogurt, some butter, she would get so many blessings. So Srimati Radhika, she was in Radhakund with her girlfriend when this news reached their ears. So immediately they became so eager, let us go. And then we can get blessing for Krishna's welfare. So as they were approaching, she saw on the hill Krishna looking like a tree made of sapphire. And she said to Lalita, I don't remember seeing that tree there. It's so attractive. And then Krishna himself was watching the gopis coming, and he was saying, is this the goddess of beauty personified coming along with her girlfriends? I mean, both of them were completely mesmerized by each other's appearance. And Radhika, she was saying before leaving Radhakund, I feel that today something wonderful will happen. We will meet someone extraordinary. So they come carrying their pots, various pots on their head, like we've seen the ladies even today they're doing. And then they came to that place, which was a very narrow place. And there, Krishna stood with his friends, and they demanded the tax. So the gopis said, tax? We've been going through here for so long. And Krishna said, yes, exactly. My master, the great King Cupid, that told me that there are girls doing contraband for so long. And therefore I should go and tax them. And if they refuse, if they insist on not paying, I should double the tax and confiscate their products. So amazing dialogue started to develop between them with a lot of sarcasm and innuendos. We have to remember in Braj, the mood is between teenagers full of this flirtatious mood between each other, Krishna and the gopis. This is what they know what gives pleasure to Krishna, and he knows this is what gives pleasure to them. So they're constantly speaking with double level meaning, triple level meaning, or Srila Gurudev would reveal to us some of that. Gopi says something, but actually it means something else, and Krishna understands on one level, then he switches to the other one, and it creates so many quiproquos, and just the nectar can flow. Remember the rule, rasa flows only if there is something chamatkar, astonishing, amazing. You're completely taken, it takes your breath away because it was so unexpected. So Krishna is there demanding. He has made a turban so huge that just to look at it, you cannot stop laughing. His turban is so extravagantly big. And then he starts to demand. And then as soon as Madhumangal, his best friend, hears the word butter, he becomes very, very greedy. And he tells, Vishaka, if you give me some butter or some ladus, I can arrange it for you. Just pay the tax. I'll lower the tax for you. So Vishaka, she picks up some stones and puts it in his hand and says, this is your ladus. And he looks at her, look, I wanted to be accommodating, but you're going to pay the full price. Now the gopis, they want to force, but Krishna is there with his friends. It's a very narrow passage. They cannot go through. And then Krishna says, look, girls, just put down the pots, fill the form to declare the goods and pay the appropriate tax. So they start to argue and giggle and behind their veils. I mean, the whole thing is so funny. And the argument lasts for hours. Then Krishna looks at Srimati Radhika and she said, I think you're the chief of the gang. You're the leader of this gang of contrabandiers. So you will have to pay special tax. And now Raghunath Goswami, or no, Rupa Goswami first, is describing an amazing scene. Under the pretext of levying tax, Krishna starts to describe the beauty of Radharani and asking tax according to the different parts of her body. For instance, he says, oh, for this golden slab, which is your forehead, oh, not less than 10 tolas of gold. Madhumangal, you noting down? Yes, I'm noting down, 10 tolas of gold. Oh, Radhika, for your neck, which is like a conch shell, not less than 100 conch shells. Madhumangal, yes, 100 conch shells. Oh, for your smile, which shows you little teeth, like little pearls, at least 100 necklaces of pearls. Madhumangal, yes, I'm noting 100 necklaces of pearls. Oh, for your ears, they look like the beak of a parrot. Oh, at least 10 parrots made of sapphire. For your eyes, oh, not less than 100 sapphire, blue sapphires. Now, for your name, Radha, I think you cannot pay enough. I think you'll have to stay forever in the prison of my arms. And he goes forward and want to embrace her. And immediately Lalita comes. It is her breast is like a tank. No, she's coming like further and said, you don't touch my friend. We are chase girl. No. And they just joke and smile and giggle and it just amazing. And then Krishna becomes a little more tricky. He becomes a little, naughty. And he said, okay, this is very good. You have declared the pots. But what about those pots that you're hiding under your veil? You have to declare those also, referring to their breast. And then the gopis become like, oh, indignant. Oh, you're becoming naughty. We're going to tell your mother. Oh, you can tell my mother as much as you like. I have protected the chastity of thousands of girls before, so don't worry about that. And they're giggling and laughing and joking. The whole thing becomes like an ocean of bliss. Now, one parrot, because there's always parrot as messengers, goes to Nandimukhi, the daughter of Purnamasi, and the parrot tells the whole story. So Nandimukhi doesn't want to waste any time. She runs and she hides in the bushes to drink the nectar of this amazing conversation. And after some time, when the gopis become a little desperate, Radhika said, but I don't carry this kind of wealth with me. Or do you expect me to pay you? Krishna says, no problem. One of you girls can remain here as a collateral. And then you go and get the wealth. And then when you come back, then she can be free. Now they start to argue, which one will be. So no, not me. I say Vrinda, Krishna said, no, Vrinda, she's already enjoyed by Vishnu. Vrinda, not good. So they suggest Kundalata. Kundalata is Krishna's cousin. So Krishna says, Kundalata will do, and they're all laughing. He's going to kiss his cousin, he's going to kiss his cousin. They're like giggling behind their veil. The whole thing is so funny and outrageously flirtatious like that. And then Krishna says that actually, she can stay here and you go. Now, this time, Nandimukhi appears. She shows herself and said, okay, Krishna, you've embarrassed those girls for long enough. They promised to come tomorrow, so let them go free. And then Purnamasi herself comes, or maybe I'm mixing with Dankeli Komudi of Raghunath Das, because after reading this, where Krishna is the winner, and Raghunath Das with Radha Paksha, then he's writing a similar play where Radha is the winner. So Purnamasi comes and says, okay, you've enjoyed so much this pastime. You're the Mahadani, the great tax collector. They're completely surrendered to you. They promise they will come tomorrow. No problem. Just, I want one blessing from you. Let those pastimes take place eternally there. And let those Vaishnavas who hear those pastimes develop pure love for you. Krishna said, Tatastu, and then the incident closes up. Now, we leave this, first we embrace one Shila of Govardhan. It is said that the touch of Govardhan is like the touch of Krishna's feet. In other words, embracing Govardhan is like what you feel when you embrace Krishna himself. Like Govardhana told us one time in Bhubaneswar. So we leave, we just exit, we go, start to go. A little further on the right, there's a place where with Srila Gurudev, we used to offer anakut on Govardhan. At that time, we didn't have a Giridhari Gojam, but we stayed in the Modi Bhavan, big caravanserai. And just across, practically, there's a hole in the gate. And we used to go there, and there is a Shila which is installed. And there's like a platform. And with Gurudev would come with hundreds of preparations there. And just right there, if you step a little bit, there is one large Shila where there is a footprint of Radhika. And if you put a little water on it, and rub, then it becomes clear. And you can put this on your head. You go out, there's a beautiful kund next to it, where gopis also used to pick flowers. And right there also, there is like a cycle where the footprints of Radha and Krishna. Many times you see devotees doing puja there, families or Brahmins. We go and we start to go and go. Because remember, they said, okay, we'll settle tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll bring the tax. So a little further on the left, there's one kund called Dan-vartana kund. Dan-vartana means tomorrow paying the tax. So the gopis, they decided to play a good trick on Krishna. Oh, you want tax? You're going to have tax, but not the kind of tax you think. And a similar incident than what happened to Shankari Kaur in Barshana happened at that very place. The gopis just put 2 or 3 gopis on the path like bait, and hundreds of them hide behind the trees and the rocks. And then Shrimati Radhika is there, Lalita is there, another 2 girls maybe. Krishna is coming like, banke, proud. So girls, do you have the tax payment? Yes, Shyam. And then Lalita, she blows between her fingers, and hundreds of gopis jump on Krishna and his court boys. They tie them, they tie the sikas of the boys to the trees, and then tie their hand with garland, and they pinch their tax, you want tax, you're gonna have tax here. And then they catch Krishna, the main culprit, they catch Krishna, and then they force him to put a gopi's dress, like a longi or a skirt, and they put concholi, a blouse. Gurudev said they would put 2 mangoes or 2 flowers as breast, and then they put a big pot of yogurt on his head, like the biggest you can think of. And Lalita, she goes back, and then with a stone, with a mischievous smile, she just breaks the pot, and Krishna gets full abhishek. Krishna is like in front of everyone, embarrassed. But then they force Krishna, taking him by the hand, and force him to bow down at the feet of Radhika. Actually, this is what he wanted from the beginning. So he arranged the whole pastime for that end, because he cherishes the feet of Radhika. But there's still a Maryada even in train, and she doesn't allow him often to take his feet. When there's a famous event, that we evoked in Seva-kunda, where Krishna just, after trying to break her man, and she didn't want to break her man, Krishna just cut her feet and with great ardor and devotion, puts them on his heart and puts them on his head, with the famous verse of Jayadev Goswami, Dei Padapalavam Udharam. Oh, the poison of separation from you has caught my head. Please put the soft, beautiful petal of your lotus feet on my head. This is the only remedy for the transcendental greed and lust which is growing in my heart to have your association. So there, Krishna is forced to touch the feet of Radhika. And Krishna protests and saying, but Vrindavan is my kingdom. And the gopis said, really? Krishna said, yes, it belongs to Vrinda, and Vrinda is my wife. So they call Vrinda. I said, Vrinda, are you married with that boy? And I have nothing to do with this black fellow. No, this is a lie. Actually, I gave this kingdom to Radhika. And when Radhika says, oh, so you wanted us to pay tax for our milk products, but we want you to pay tax because you're trampling the forest of our Swamini, with all your cows, you break all the trees, all the shrubs and plants. So now you have to pay tax. And say, anyway, by the way, we're going to make a government. We're going to constitute a government. So yeah, this is there. Oh, there's a water that usually is almost dry, right? With the rains. So they say, okay, we're going to form the government. So Lalita becomes, naturally, Srimati Radhika is the Chakravartini. She's the Empress of Vrindavan. Lalita is Prime Minister. All the high posts of ministers are given to the gopis. And the boys are sweepers only, the lowest post. And Krishna is made the chief of police. Now, they separate. And the boys thinking, those girls really cheated us. We have to make a revolution. We have to come back tomorrow and make a revolution. So next day in the morning, they meet again. And then Madhu Mangal is a speaker in the name of the group. We have some high reasons to consider that there is high-level corruption in your government. The flute of Krishna has been stolen. And the girl said, the flute has been stolen. The chief of police cannot even protect his own flute. Degrade him, make him a sweeper like the others. One would say, hey, this is serious. We have to organize a search. So we're going to investigate each one of you. And then the boys go forward towards the girl. And the girl said, don't touch us. We are chaste girls. Don't touch us with your dirty hands. Stay away. And Krishna said, okay, you just have to shake your skirt and your veil and shake your hair. And then we'll see. So the girls shake their skirt and the veils and the giggling and laughing and then shaking their hair. And then when it comes to Lalita's turn, the flute of Krishna falls on the ground. See, the prime minister herself, we had good reason to say, you have high-level corruption. This government must be disbanded. And then Lalita, she's crying and calling Radha with her eyes. And Radha understands and says, can the boys swear that they didn't do it? Then the boys look at each other and they think, wow, we're going to get in trouble again. So they all start to run. Again, Krishna is alone. They catch Krishna and again, they force him to bow down and touch the feet of Srimati Radhika. So these are the leelas in Dana-ghati and Govardhana, the kun where we paid the tax. Actually, they paid him in prem, because all this tax, actually, Krishna wants the prem of the gopis. And through their talk and their joking, they give him what he wants. It's all imbued with prem. So they gave him, he wanted their prem and they gave him prem. But externally, it was in the form of sapphires and conch shells and gold. But actually, it's all based on prem. We have to remember the relationship in Krishna and the gopis is based on pure prem. Vraja prem, the highest type of prem which exists. Go premanande hari bol.
Thank you so much, Shripad Sudadwaiti Maharaj Ji. Your recitation of this Dana-ghati pastime, this Dan Keli Kumudi, exceptional. Reminds me of how Srila Gurudev would describe it, and also just how with so much laughter and joy we would experience this particular pastime after hearing it. So very grateful to you. So now we're heading to Anyora. This is with Shripad Tridandi Maharaj. So Shripad Maharaj Ji, without further delay, and he will.
Dandavats, Anuradha. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Bhaktivedanta Sudadwaiti Maharaj. That was wonderful presentation. Thank you. Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya. And first of all, offering millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of my beloved Gurudev, Nityalila Pravishta on Asto Tarasara Shishima Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same again millions of times unto the lotus feet of our most beloved Nityalila Pravishta on Asto Tarasara Shishima Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and all the Vaishnav and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, my Dandavat pranams to all. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha, kripa sindhuvevacha, Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So now we've come to the very small village. It's probably the most humble type of village in the whole of Govardhan, even though it's the most potent and the most filled with speciality and sweetness. We've just left Dana-ghati. We've gone through down near Govardhan, and we've come perhaps a mile down the road, and we've reached Anyora, this little village of Anyora. Just on the outskirts, on the other side, we have Sankarshan-kunda, and then just inside we have Govardhan. We have Govinda-kunda. So this is where we are at the moment. We have the huge backdrop of Giriraj himself, and immediately there's an impression of the potency of Giriraj, because just here is where we actually see the highest conception, or Govardhan is at his mightiest right here. When we go in the north end towards Radhakund, practically Giriraj disappears. But right here, he's at his highest. So we have beautiful darshan here of Giriraj Govardhan, and we chant, Namaste Girirajaya Shri Govardhana Namine Ashesha Klesha Nashaya Paramananda Dayane. That who is this Lord of the mountains? What is his name? His name is Giriraj. And he has the potency to take away all sins and to distribute prem to the sadhak. So we can chant this mantra while we take his darshan here. But Anyora is the traditional place where Krishna, he was seeing, coming back from the cowherd grazing, he was seeing his father and all the elder Brijvasis preparing for a yagya, for a sacrifice. So he was curious. What he knew, of course, he's omniscient. He knew exactly what was going on, that the Brijvasis were preparing again, traditionally, to offer the yagya to Indradev. But Krishna, in his munificence, he wanted to purify the pride of Indra. And he wanted the Brijvasis to understand the supremacy of the transcendental world beyond Swagaloka. So today, I would like to read directly from the Srimad Bhagavatam, because it gives the most clear, beautiful explanation of this pastime. We can say it in our own words, but the Bhagavatam words spoken by Shukadev are just nectar to listen to. So Lord Krishna says, my dear father, kindly explain to me what this great endeavor of yours is all about. What is it meant to accomplish? If this is a ritual sacrifice, then for whose satisfaction is it intended, and by what means is it going to be executed? So Krishna's in a form of 7-year-old boy, but he's speaking so maturely to get the attention of the elder Gopas here. Please tell me about it, O Father. I have a great desire to know, and I am ready to hear in good faith. Certainly no secrets are to be kept by saintly personalities who see all others as equal to themselves. In other words, don't see me as a little boy. I'm also, speaking maturely, so accept me as that, who have no conception of mine and another's, and who do not consider who is a friend or who is an enemy or who is neutral. So without consideration. This is from chapter 24 of the 10th canto. I'm just reading directly because I think the potency of these words is more strong than anything I could begin to say. So one who is neutral may be avoided like an enemy, but a friend should be considered like one's own self. When people in this world perform activities, sometimes they understand what they are doing, and sometimes they don't. Right? The smartest. Krishna is wanting to purify those demigods. Those who know what they are doing achieve success in their work, whereas ignorant people do not. Such being the case, this ritualistic endeavor of yours should be clearly explained to me. Is it a ceremony based on scriptural injunction, or simply a custom of ordinary society? So now this is the build-up for the entire Govardhan pastime, which is going to transpire from this conversation. Nanda Maharaj replied, the great Lord Indra is the controller of the rain. The clouds are his personal representatives, and they directly provide rainwater, which gives happiness and sustenance to all creatures. Not only we, my dear son, but also many other men worship him, the Lord and Master of the rain-giving clouds. We offer him grain and other paraphernalia of worship, produced through his own discharge in the form of rain. By accepting the remnants of sacrifices performed to Indra, people sustain their lives and accomplish the threefold aims of religiosity, economic development, and sense gratification. Thus, Lord Indra is the agent responsible for the fruitful success of industrious people. He goes on. This religious principle is based on sound tradition. Anyone who rejects it out of lust, enmity, fear, or greed will certainly fail to achieve good fortune. So they're intimidated. They've done it traditionally and they've become intimidated by the Devas. Shukadeva Goswami said, when Lord Keshava, Krishna, heard the statements of his father Nanda and other senior residents of Braj, he addressed his father as follows to arouse anger in Lord Indra. So this is the catalyst for our whole meditation. Lord Krishna says, it is by the force of karma that the living entity takes birth, and it is by karma alone that he meets his destruction. His happiness, distress, fear, and sense of security all arise as the effects of karma. So Krishna is preaching karmavad, which is actually like karma vimamsa, which actually is like an atheistic philosophy. He's decided to preach this almost atheistic philosophy to minimize the importance of the demigods. He wants to purify Indra, and he wants to purify them all in the sense of their pride. Huh? Yes. Even if there is some supreme controller, even if there is, it's like we are in an atheistic, it's all karma. Everything is happening by karma. If there is some supreme controller who awards all others the results of their activities, he must also depend upon the performers engaging in activity. After all, there is no question. Oops, I lost my place. Question. After all, there is no question of being the bestower of fruitive results unless fruitive activities have actually been performed, all based on karma, karma-kanda. Living beings in this world are forced to experience the consequences of their own particular previous work, or karma. Since Lord Indra cannot in any way change the destiny of human beings, which is born of their own nature, why should people worship him? He's giving sound logic. Every individual is under the control of his own conditioned nature, and thus he must follow that nature. This entire universe, with all its demigods, demons, and human beings, is based on the conditioned nature of the living entities. Because it is karma that causes the conditioned living entity to accept, then give up different high and low grade material bodies, this karma is his enemy, friend, and neutral witness, his spiritual master and controlling Lord. In other words, we worship karma. And the karma mimamsa, the only thing that they have in their favor is that they believe in reincarnation. But otherwise, it's a completely atheistic philosophy. Therefore, one should seriously worship work itself. A person should remain in the position corresponding to the nature and should perform his own duty. Indeed, that by which we may live nicely is really our worshipable deity. So how do we live nicely? In the shade of Giriraj. If one is thinking actually sustaining our life, but we take shelter of something else, how can we achieve any real benefit? It's such logic coming from a small boy. We would be like an unfaithful woman who can never achieve any actual benefit by consorting with her paramour. The Brahmana maintains his life by studying and teaching the Vedas, the member of the royal order by protecting the earth, the Vaishya by trade, and the Sudra by serving the higher twice-born classes. The occupational duties of the Vaishya are conceived in 4 divisions: farming, commerce, cow protection, money lending. Out of these, we as a community are always engaged in cow protection. The causes of creation, maintenance, and destruction are the three modes of nature. And he goes on to convince his father, my dear father, our home is not in the cities or towns or villages. Being forest dwellers, we always live in the forest and on the hills. Therefore, may a sacrifice for the pleasure of the cows, the Brahmanas, and Giriraj begin with all the paraphernalia collected for worshipping Indra. Let this sacrifice be performed instead for the cows and Giriraj hill, Govardhan. Let many different kinds of food be cooked, from sweet rice to vegetable soups. Many kinds of fancy cakes, both baked and fried, should be prepared, and all the available milk products should be taken for this sacrifice. The Brahmanas who are learned in the Vedic mantras must properly invoke the sacrificial fires. Then you should feed the priests with nicely prepared food and reward them with cows and other gifts. So Krishna describes how the sacrifice should be conducted. This is my idea, O Father, and you may carry it out if it appeals to you. Such a sacrifice will be very dear to the cows, the Brahmins, and Govardhan hill, and also to me. The Brijvasis love Krishna with all their hearts and souls. Even if he now is speaking something so contrary to their tradition, they're still prepared to listen to him. We'll continue. The cowherd community. Sukadeva Goswami said, Lord Krishna, who is himself powerful time, desired to destroy the false pride of Lord Indra. When Nanda and the other senior men of Vrindavan heard Sri Krishna's statement, they accepted his words as proper. He's speaking in a very logical way, and they accepted. So now the whole pastime begins. All those preparations they had made were all going to now be offered directly to Giriraj at this place, at Anyora, where we have come. It began with Dana-ghati. They were bringing through the gully there. There's only one little crossing from Radha-kunda and the north, from Varshana and Nandagan, comes through this little gully where they were just held up by Krishna, demanding the tax. But now they've come to Anyora with their products. And they're making a beautiful area in Anyora of offering all these products. And the Brahmin priests are engaging in chanting the mantras to offer correctly. And then Krishna, by his mercy, he manifests himself as Giriraj. Krishna is there in his small boy form with all the Brijvasis. Simultaneously, yes, like in the picture, then he's manifesting himself as Giriraj himself, the mountain of Giriraj. And with his hands, he's starting to take all these offerings and consume them. And he's taking everything. They had mountains of halwa, mountains of pakora, mountains of rice, lakes of sweet rice, lakes of lassi. And Giriraj is taking them, and the Brijvasis are just astonished. And Krishna is saying, you see, we have done the right thing. You've listened to me. And now our beloved Giriraj, now he's manifested his full form to give you faith in what I've been saying. And Giriraj, Krishna, Govardhan, he devours all those offerings. And then he's saying, Anyora, Anore, give me more, give me more. The Brijvasis are running home. They're bringing everything they have in their possession. And then, finally, one Brahmin, he offers a huge plate of tulsi. And then Giriraj says, Triptosmi, now I'm satisfied. Now I'm satisfied. So then Krishna himself, he's offering obeisances with Baladev to Giriraj. And then all the Brijvasis, they all decorate their wagons and their carts, their bullock carts. They have the cows in front. They have their bullock carts. They have all their musical instruments. Just like the whole mood of Giriraj that we described previously, it's full of festivity. Like Shuddha was talking about the mirth, the laughter, the sense of the mood between them, this rasa. was there very powerfully. So now this whole festive mood is going on. And it's described in the Ananda Vrindavan Champu that Indra, he's hearing this music and it's giving him a headache. His doctors have to come and try and cure his headache because the headache is coming from this celebration of worshipping Giriraj and not him. So this is more increasing the anger. Yes, penetrating his heart, increasing his anger of Indra. So now the pastime is going to begin to be unfolded, where Indra becomes so incensed with anger. But this is not happening here specifically at this place. Anyora is just the prelude to the whole Govardhan pastime, which will be described later on. We will hear this whole pastime unfolded in many different places. We'll come to a couple of days where it's just Govardhan being glorified on Gopastami and Govardhan Puja, and this whole pastime of Indra inundating, trying to murder, in fact. We'll hear a little bit more later on after Govinda-kunda, because we're going to Surabhi-kunda. And when we come to Surabhi-kunda, we will also hear something of this pastime. So I'm not going to elaborate more on this pastime, but this pastime of Anyora, he's saying, give me more, give me more. And this is the name of this little village. And it's remarkable, this little village in Govardhan is so humble in its display, you can say. When you walk through the village on parikrama, I think they have 2 or 3 vegetable shops that hardly sell any vegetables. It's just a mood of simplicity, even though they have millions, literally hundreds of millions of pilgrims come over the years. Nothing has moved towards materialism at all. It's still as simple as it ever was. The bridge and the bridge buses leading their buffalo and their cows through the streets, etc. It's completely rustic. Giriraj Maharaj himself, I described the other day, around the proximity of Govardhan, Kali Maharaj cannot enter. If you're within something of 20 miles radius of Giri Maharaj, then Kali Maharaj cannot enter. We can bring some influence ourselves in our own consciousnesses, but it's not coming out. It's not externally there being exhibited. So we see even the township of Govardhan. You can't even practically buy a pair of spectacles there. You have to go to Mathura or to go to a dentist or anything in Mathura. So like that, it's maintained. After thousands and thousands of years, 5,000 years, it's still maintained. It's very simple mood. So this is where we come. And we also offer the Anukut festival, as Maharaj described, at this place of Anyora. We come with our pots anywhere close by to Govardhan. Actually, we would offer with our Sangha many preparations directly, as Maharaj was explaining, opposite near Dana-ghati. But then later on, when we moved to Giriraj Mandir, we would go across the other side. But still, it was right up against the side of Govardhan. And Gurudev was so much into this pastime. As we heard yesterday from Vaikanas Maharaj, when Gurudev would come to Govardhan first, and he would bathe the Govardhan Shila, Vaikanas Maharaj wasn't mentioning how Tirtha Maharaj and Madhav Maharaj, they would bring buckets of yogurt and milk, buckets of sugar, buckets, and they would pour them over, and Gurudev would enthusiastically massage the Govardhan Shila there, to such an extent that he made us all over the world in Bhaja get all those preparations together and walk with them on our heads to the Giriraj in Bhaja in the US. We would all do that ceremony. And certainly here, every year in Govardhan itself, we would always carry on our heads all the foodstuffs. And Gurudev would say repeatedly, even if you give 1 grain of rice during this festival in honor of Giriraj Maharaj, you will never have an empty kitchen. You will never have an empty pantry. You will never be empty-pocketed. Lakshmi Dev will reciprocate. So this mood of giving, Govardhan himself, he is the most munificent personality. And this is reflected when we hear in the pastime of Madhavendra Puri. He also has that same munificent nature. But all the time, Giriraj is just giving, giving, giving. We said the other day this beautiful verse, Hantarya Madhira Bala Haridasavarya, Yad Ramakrishna Charana Sparsha Pramoda. The gopis are singing this as Haridasavarya, the greatest servant of Krishna. He's giving everything, his body, his grasses, his fruits, his waterfall, his caves, his cooling, and his heating. Everything is given by Giriraj. So we also want to reciprocate with that munificent mood by offering him these preparations. So in a couple of days, we will carry all these preparations on our heads and we'll proceed to Govardhan. So this is Anyora. This is the village. Also, we've spoken Sankachuda also previously. Just outside of this village is Sankashankund, almost parallel with Govinda-kunda. So Sankashankund, there's a very beautiful of Baladev, and this kund has just been renovated in the last 5 or 7 years. Yes, very beautiful now. Before, in the time of Gurudev, it was just a pile of plastic bags, etc. Now it's all been renovated beautiful. Traditionally, they actually found this very beautiful deity of Baladev, which is residing in a house close by. It's about quarter of a mile. Yeah, it's huge deity. I don't have a picture of this Baladev. You don't have? We can't find it just now. But this Baladev deity is very beautiful and is there for our darshan, practically half a kilometer from Sankashankund. And it's in a house being looked after by a family. And if you want, if you feel inspired, anybody, you can offer him milk sweets every Purnima or any time. I can give you the address of the people and you can send some Lakshmi through there to get benefit, especially during the month of Kartik. And I can send you the WhatsApp address of the family who are in charge, and you can offer some direct milk sweets to Baladev. He's a beautiful deity and really unornamented in a sense, in a very much mood of Madhurya. He's the Ishtadev of this area. And just like on the eastern side of the Jamuna is Baladev country, on the eastern side of Govardhan is also Baladev country. So Anyora ki jai, Sankashankund ki jai, Dalbai ki jai, Go Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you so much, Shripati Dandi Maharaj Ji. I'm actually recalling my first and last time going to New Braj and celebrating this Anukut festival with Srila Gurudev. It was in 2010, so it was the last festival that Srila Gurudev had in New Braj. But it was very, very beautiful and quite amazing. So very grateful for that remembrance and also for the remembrance of Anukut festival. We will also be celebrating in a few days, as you mentioned, this Govardhan Puja. So Giriraj Maharaj ki jai. So now moving on in our parikrama to Govinda-kunda, Shripad Vaikhanus Maharaj Ji will be speaking on this, as well as speaking on the glories of Sri Madhavendra Puripad. So Maharaj Ji, please.
Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshunamritanjena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Guruve Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namaha. Yam Pravajantam Anupeta Apeta Krityam Rapayano Virahakatara Ajuhava Putreti Tan Maitaya Taravo Binedus Tam Savabhutam Hidayam Honimanatusmi Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatam Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat Bhaktya Vihina Parada Lakshai Kiptastaka Mari Tarangamadye Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapanna Vende Namaste Charanara Vindam Tavevasmi, na jivami tvaya vina, iti vigyaya radhe, tam nayanam charanandike, vancha kalpatarubhascha, kripa sindhubhya evacha, patitanam pavanebhyo, vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Okay, so we begin always by offering our most humble obeisance unto the lotus feet of our beloved gurus, unto Sri Guru Pada Padma Nityalita Bhavishta Om Vishnu Pad Asta Tarasata Sri Simad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada and Sri Guru Pada Padma Nityalita Bhavishta Om Vishnu Pad Asta Tarasata Sri Simad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, unto our exalted Rupanuga Guru Varga, all the assembled Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis. I was thinking, hearing Sri Advaita Maharaj and Sri Dana Maharaj speaking, and also the idea that it's been building up, the great fortune that we have to be attending this parikrama, whether it's directly in Vrindavan or, as we say, virtually, Manasi parikrama, and to hear and to speak about these pastimes and to develop the yearning to become qualified to actually enter into them. You can't help but feel day after day an increase in that sense of urgency, right? The sense of our own lacking. Oh, when, Kabe Habe, when will I become qualified for this? But in the meantime, such deep gratitude to obviously our direct gurus, but our sampradaya, that have preserved and revealed this generation after generation. And in terms of this Govinda-kunda, we can't help but remember the pastime of Madhavendra Puripad, who is described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita as the root of the tree of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Mahaprabhu is like the trunk of this great grand tree. All the branches and smaller branches are all his devotees, generation after generation, who are coming to reveal and spread his glorious teachings, his glorious mission. And in a sense, although our sampradaya is eternal, and we know it originally comes from Lord Brahma, the secret and speciality of Mahaprabhu's mission really began with Madhavendra Puri, because he was the first one to taste and reveal the secret sentiments of Srimati Radhika and her associates, right? And because of that, Nityananda Prabhu considers him his guru. Whether Nityananda took direct initiation from him or Shiksha, it doesn't matter. They're both the same. Advaitacharya took initiation from Madhavendra Puri. Nityananda met and was with him during his own pilgrimage times. They spent many days together. And Mahaprabhu acknowledged him. He is the guru, the spiritual master of Ishwar Puripad, who was Mahaprabhu's direct spiritual master. And so there's a pastime at this Govinda-kunda. Now we can talk about this. We can also talk about how it got its name, but that, in relationship to the Leela at Govardhan with Lord Indra. But first we'll talk about Madhavendra Puri, because there's again, he's revealing this. Remember, at the time of Madhavendra Puri, Mahaprabhu had not yet even visited this place, right? This was to come later. So he was coming through Vrindavan, and Madhavendra Puri was a greatly renounced personality, renounced in the sense that he was always meditating deeply internally on the pastimes of Radha and Govinda, Radha Krishna. And so he didn't even care for his own maintenance. He was so internally absorbed always. And he came to Vrindavan, and he came to this place that we know as Govinda-kunda now. And he was in this same area, sitting under a tree, simply chanting, meditating, absorbed internally in meditation on these beautiful, beautiful pastimes. And it was becoming late in the day. And as was his practice, he never did Madhukari. He never even begged. He was happy that if something came, he would take it. If not, he would simply fast and he would be nurtured by the holy name. Right? Incredible situation. And so he was there sitting, meditating in deep love, and all of a sudden a beautiful young village boy came. Beautiful boy, very sweetly speaking to Madhavendra Puri. He says, "Oh, Baba, I see that you've not taken anything. You've not done Madhukar, you've not eaten. The villagers, the village ladies have seen you in this situation. They see you've not taken anything, so they sent with me this pot of milk for you. Because we are always looking out for sadhus and others, and in my village, nobody fasts, right? So please take this milk and be satisfied." Madhavendra Puri was astonished looking at this boy. He was like overwhelmed, and he had previously been meditating internally, and now he could not take his eyes off this boy. And the boy said, "I'll come back after a little while and reclaim the pot." And then almost before his eyes, he just disappeared. Was he here? Was he not? Did he walk away? He was here before me, now he's not. Madhavendra Puri was astonished. What? And he took the milk. And by that also, his mood of love was just so excited. And he was overwhelmed. What have I experienced? What is going on? And he continued to chant and think about that boy. And then later on in the evening, somehow or other, he dozed off. Dozed off means he went into internal meditation. Not that he's unconscious. When we doze off, we go into dreaming sleep or deep sleep. We're basically unconscious, right? But that means he was meditating internally. And in that state, Svapna Darshan, that same boy appeared to him again. And he said, "Oh, for a long time, I've been waiting for you, Madhavendra Puri, to come to this place." Right? A long time ago, I was worshipped here. And he's describing that I was worshipped. I was installed by Krishna's great grandson, Rajana, and worshipped here for a long time. I am the lifter of Govardhan Hill. But when the Muslims came, and the Muslims came repeatedly, and they did so many atrocities, they destroyed deities, so many things, and killed brahmanas. The pujaris were afraid, and they took me, they hid me in the forest under a bush. Right? And I've been there ever since now, for a long time. I'm covered with leaves and dirt. And in the summer, the scorching heat, and the winter rains and freezing cold, always waiting for you, Madhavendra Puri. So now you're here, and this is where I am. Come and get me. Madhavendra Puri woke out of that. And he was ecstatic. But at the same time, he was thinking, "Oh my, I saw Krishna directly with my own eyes. I was so bewildered, I couldn't recognize him." Right? And that's interesting because two kinds of people can't recognize Krishna as the Supreme Lord. Right? Those who are envious or demoniac, right? And even us, right? We can't see Krishna completely for who he is. We go before the deity every day, but what do we see? Do we see Krishna standing before us, conversing with us, conversing with Radhika, engaging in pastimes, eating, drinking, laughing, playing his flute? Or do we see brass, stone, whatever? We're not quite there yet. One time, one of my godbrothers went before Srila Prabhupada very enthusiastically and said, "Oh, Srila Prabhupada, I'm so happy now. I feel like I'm at least 50% devotee." And Srila Prabhupada said, "Yes, 50% devotee means 50% demon." So, yeah, we want to be devotee, but we want to cleanse these other qualities so that we can actually see Krishna. Now, Madhavendra Puri, he couldn't see Krishna. He saw him, but he was covered by what? By love, by Yogamaya. Different kind of covering altogether. And he was lamenting, but a lamentation very different from ours, a lamentation filled with the deepest love. And immediately that morning, he gathered all the villagers and told them, this beautiful deity is there. Come with me, bring your spades, bring your machetes, your choppers, and we'll go into the forest. And they cleared a path, found the bush, uncovered the deity very carefully, and brought him out to a place nearby. And they took a big stone and used that as a platform for the deity, another stone to support him from the back so he wouldn't fall, and then ordered that water be brought from the nearby kunds, right? And at first 9 large pots were brought, and then Brahmins came and other devotees, and then hundreds and hundreds, I think 900 pots of water were brought. And under the direction of Madhavendra Puri, Abhishek was performed, right? And they bathed this beautiful deity over and over, cooling his body, cleansing him from all of this time. And the Abhishek was performed, and hearing about this, villagers from nearby began to bring garments, jewelry, whatever they could. Remember, this is very poor Vrindavan at this time, very simple. But they brought what they could, and they began to bring all of the foodstuffs in the village, all the flour, all the rice, all the vegetables, ghee, everything they had, milk, yogurt, sweets, and they made an offering all around, very much like this picture, very nice picture, right? Just like this, offering to the deity. And they had a very beautiful installation ceremony and offering. And then word got out, and people from other villages also came, right? And then day after day, all the villages hearing about this, more and more people came. Remarkable that, remember, this is a time of great oppression by the Muslims, and Vaishnavas were kept down. But now by the influence of this beautiful, strong, effulgent devotee, Madhavendra Puri, everyone's love and faith was being uplifted and what would be the word, reinforced, right? And they became joyful. And then, our history, our culture, we as Brajbasis now are being affirmed. And this deity of Krishna, established by Krishna's great-grandson, is here. And they all came, day after day. A different village would come, and they would have this Abhishek. Wonderful Abhishek, and also offering, right? And artik. And wealthy persons, Srila Prabhupada called them very wealthy capitalists, would come, and a temple was built, and more elaborate clothing and more elaborate jewelry. And the deity became established on the hill and became worshipped in a regular way. Later on, there'll be some pastimes with that deity, because Mahaprabhu would not go up onto the top of Govardhan to see that deity, because he thought, I'm a devotee, I can't put my feet on Govardhan. Also, Rupa and Sanatan, the same kind of feeling. And the deity would create some pretext, like an invasion by the Muslims, and he would come down and be moved to another place. But Madhavendra Puri established this. And then, in very brief, Madhavendra Puri was overseeing the worship of this deity for many, many, many days. And then one day the deity again came to him and said, I'm still very hot. I'm burning still from my time being left in the sun and left unworshipped. I want you to go to Jagannath Puri and collect sandalwood and camphor there and bring it back and smear it on my body. This is not easy to get. Even today, sandalwood is controlled by the government, right? And so Madhavendra Puri immediately left, and took by foot this journey all the way there. And there's the famous story of him. First, he stopped in Navadvip and Shantipur, and he met Advaitacharya, who was so overwhelmed by meeting him, he wanted to take initiation from him, and he did. And he went on to this town called Ramuna, where this famous deity of Gopinath was there. And he had this, I'm not going to get into it in detail, talk about that on Navadvip Parikrama. I want time to speak about the other pastimes. But there, the famous pastime of the deity stealing the kheer and sending it to Madhavendra Puri, because that kheer that they offered to that deity, the Pujari explained to Madhavendra Puri that this kheer is so special, nowhere else in India is such kheer offered. And Madhavendra Puri, while the offering was being made, was thinking, oh, he's described it to me, but if I could taste it, I could make that same thing for my beautiful deity. But then he felt ashamed. He's thinking, oh, this offering's being made. I want to taste it. I want to enjoy. Oh, I'm such a rascal. He's so humble. So he left and he went back into the village, into the marketplace under a tree. And that evening, the deity stole some of that kheer, told the pujari about it, because usually what were there, 12 or 13 jars, and then the pujari would collect them and then hand them out in a very exclusive way. But somehow or other, the pujari became bewildered by the maya of the deity, Gopinath, and Gopinath said, I've hidden it, now come and take it and give it to Madhavendra Puri. So he did, and Madhavendra Puri took that kheer and had, again, incredible transformations, ecstatic moods. And then he drank the kheer, and then amazingly took the pot, cleansed it, broke it into tiny little pieces, wrapped it up in his cloth. And every day after that, he would take a little piece of that pot as prasad. He went on to Puri, collected the sandalwood. Even though he didn't want name and fame, it had preceded him to Puri. And the kings and the administrators there wanted to help him in every way. So they gave him the sandalwood, they gave him the camphor, they gave him people to help him take it back to Vrindavan. They gave him letters, official letters, so that he could go on through the different tolls and not be obstructed. And he was prepared to march. It's a lot of weight of sandalwood he was carrying. And he went with one Brahmin and one servant. And when he got back to that same place, Ramuna, he wanted to visit. The Pujari saw him, gave him kheer again, and the deity came to him and said, not this Gopinath deity, but his Gopal in Vrindavan came to him again in a dream, that same Gopal, and said, oh, Madhavendra Puri, you've undergone such hardship to collect this sandalwood. I don't want you to bring it all the way back here. Grind it into paste, mix it with camphor, and give it to Gopinath. Gopinath and I are non-different. By serving that Gopinath in this way, I am also satisfied. And so he did that. Of course, the local pujaris were very happy that such opulent service could be given. And then throughout that summer, that sandalwood was used. And he stayed there until all of that was finished. And then he went on. Whether he went back to Vrindavan or not, it's unknown, right? Oh, there's the deity. Oh my goodness, look at that picture. Originally established by the great-grandson of Krishna. So Madhavendra Puri was so instrumental in awakening the consciousness of the Vaishnavas to the pastimes of Vrindavan, uncovering this sacred spot, right? This sacred deity, one of the first, perhaps the first of the deities that had been established by Krishna's great-grandson and had been lost in time, right? But there's another, oh my goodness, I don't know if I have time for this. The pastime of Lord Indra. It's really, really beautiful how Govinda-kunda was formed and how Krishna got his name. I don't know if I have time.
Yes, Maharaj, please continue.
Well, no, because Tridandi is also going to speak. I need to hear from him if
Oh.
what time-wise.
Can you say in brief a little and I'll finish it? Can we share it?
Nah, it's
Sure.
Gopal. Maybe another day I can
No,
talk about.
Tell Maharaj, tell Maharaj.
I don't know, because you have so much more to do, right?
Do it, Maharaj. Do it, Maharaj. You have time. You have time. Do it. Do it.
All right. All right. Well, if we go back to the Govardhan pastime, after, Tridandi Maharaj gave the preliminary, right? And this is the end. So everything else is in between. So after Lord Indra had done his atrocities and then had been defeated by Krishna, and then came to the realization that, oh my God, what have I done? I've tried to kill my worshipable Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and all his dearmost associates. And his fear and anxiety and self-recrimination, the peaks of it. I remember one time when I was a kid, I had a dream that I destroyed the whole world, that I blew up the whole world. And I woke up in the early morning in that half dream, half awake state, thinking that I'd just blown up the whole world. And I was in such anxiety. I thought, oh my God, I've destroyed the whole world. My whole body was consumed with anxiety and guilt and shame and fear. And I ran down to my sister's room and I said, I destroyed the whole, I'm in this weird state. And she says, what? I would destroy the whole world. Everything's here. And then I got calmed down, right? But I tasted a little bit of what Indra might have tasted, the guilt, the shame, the horror. But, what Indra was experiencing was, because he's also a devotee, millions of times. Oh my God, what have I done? The whole meaning of my life. And so he goes to his room and he stops eating. He puts the blankets over his head. He wants to sleep. He can't sleep. No, and he won't come out. Brahaspati comes to him and says, oh, you fool. Look what you've done. Get up. Go to Lord Brahma. There's only one. He's the only one who can tell you how to overcome, somehow, make this right. And so he goes to Lord Brahma, and Lord Brahma says, oh, I committed a sin, an offense to the Lord, but what you've done is so much worse. And you did it with great effort. It took so much effort to commit this offense. You think about it. He marshaled all of his forces, all of his armies, all of his clouds over and over trying to, so, there's offense at different degrees, but when you make so much effort, it's just like when people make a lot of effort to exclude pure devotees from their association or to silence them and not allow them to talk. And they make great effort and write letters and post on the internet. You may not agree with somebody, but if you make great effort to silence pure devotees, oh, so much worse. So he said, there's only one way you can do this. You have to go to the planet Goloka in this universe, the planet of the cows. Mother Surabhi is there, and take her with you to Vrindavan. Krishna is very kindly disposed to cows. If she's there, his heart will soften, and maybe he'll forgive you. So they went down, and in that same area that we know now as Govinda-kunda, that area, it wasn't formed yet, but Indra went, and Krishna he knew what was going on, so he told all his cowherd boyfriends, you go away in a distant place, I have something to do. And he sat there very relaxed, and then Indra comes, and he's just offering prostrated obeisance, weeping. And Surabhi is there, and then Krishna comes up to Indra, and he looks at him, and he just, oh, Indra, what have you done? Foolish Indra. And he picks him up with his own hand, and he consoles him. Because remember, when great devotees commit offense like this, there's the influence of Yogamaya. It's very hard to imagine how Indra, who was the king of the demigods, could commit this offense unless he was influenced. Remember, his younger brother is Vamandev, right? Vamandev is with him regularly performing Leela. His mother and father are, Kashyap and Aditi. So something has to be there, but still, it's the offense. Oh, look at that picture. So, and he feels that he's committed the offense, and in one way he has, but Krishna consoles him. And then they call Surabhi to come, and Surabhi comes, and they say, oh, we want to bathe you. Surabhi says, I want to offer you my milk. My milk has only one purpose, to serve you. And so Krishna agrees. They want to do Abhishek. And so Indra tells his elephant, Airavata, and Airavata reaches up with his trunk, extends it to the heavenly planets, and takes a jeweled pot and fills it with celestial Ganga water, brings it down, and with that, and with the milk from Surabhi's own udders, they bathe Krishna very beautifully. And he's very pleased. They do it not just with the substances, but with their own love. And Indra is so grateful, right? Krishna's lotus feet are shining, shining. It said that the jewels on Indra's crown, that light it appears to be reflected in Krishna's toenails, but actually Krishna's toenails are the source of so much effulgence and beauty. They make Indra, who is like the sun to everyone else, he becomes like a firefly before the sun of Krishna, right? Anyway, by that ceremony, he becomes pleased, and Krishna, forgives him, and all the demigods, they begin to shower flowers down on Krishna. And they begin to glorify him. And they say, oh, you are the protector of Vrindavan. You are the protector of the cows, you're the protector of the gopas. You are the protector of the gopis. You are Govinda. And he's anointed with that name. From this point forward, you'll be known as Govinda. Very sweet name, the protector and one who gives pleasure to the cows, to the gopas, to the gopis, to the land of Vrindavan. Right? And then they all give him gifts. Right? Indra gives him a special, beautiful, effulgent white umbrella. Surya gives him beautiful jewels. Right? Others give him other things. Lord Shiva gives him a special flute that he made himself. And they go back. The cowherd boys at a distance, all the demigods leave. The cowherd boys come back. And they say, hey, what went on? Right? They're very astonished. And Baladev, he knows everything. And Krishna's got all these jewels on. And they're walking back very happily towards the village. But before they get there, Baladev says, we don't want them to see you, our mother and father and everyone, so opulent like a king. So, and they might question, where did all these come from? So they put them on the branches of the nearby trees. Vanadevis take care of it. And they go back into the village, but they do bring the chamra and the umbrella. And when they go back, they announce, that they do a very beautiful ceremony, and they use the umbrella and the chamra to worship Nanda Maharaj and Jashoda as the king and the queen. And then they're instructed that, now you should have a big ceremony and install Krishna as the Yuvaraj, right? The prince. So they have a great ceremony for that. And then they ask, well, how did all this stuff come? Where'd you get this umbrella? Where'd you get this chamra? Where did this come from? And the cowherd boys say, we don't know exactly what happened, but in the distance, we saw Krishna and we saw some fellow with eyes all over his body bowing down. We saw another with 5 heads. We saw another with 4 heads. And started describing, saw a giant white elephant, and they all gave gifts to Krishna. That's all we know. They didn't understand what was going on either. Yogamaya covers them. But what I really wanted to get to was that night, Krishna, he didn't take any of the gifts, but he kept one gift. And the one gift he kept was the flute that Lord Shiva had given him. And that night, remember, after the Govardhan Leela, this was the first time that Krishna and the gopis had gotten to come together so closely without obstruction for a long time, for that entire week. And their Purvarag had grown to such an extent. They wanted to be together so much. Krishna's desire had increased incredibly. And he sat on the rooftop at midnight with this flute and began to play it. And he called out, and in that flute note, he was calling to each of the gopis, exclaiming his desire to be with each one of them. And so this Leela, like every other Leela in Braj, it has its relationship with the different devotees, right? There's something there for everybody in this Govardhan Leela. All the different rasas are nourished. But ultimately, what happened at the end, Lord Shiva gives him this flute, and with this flute, he calls out to the gopis. And their desire and excitement to be together reaches another feverish pitch. Of course, it won't be completely satisfied for another 8 months or so, but it starts sweetly and it ends even more sweetly. Ultimately, it ends with Krishna calling out to the gopis. So that is what happens at Govinda-kunda in a nutshell. In a nutshell. There's so much more. Okay, so we'll stop here and express our immense gratitude to our other speakers for saying so. I hadn't heard some of these pastimes that Srila Dwaiti had explained. I've not read that Don Keli Kumodi book. I looked on Amazon and saw you can get it on Kindle now. And Tridandi Maharaj also beautiful, beautiful things that just excite our desire to be there directly now to whatever extent we can be, and one day in our real transcendental forms, serving these leelas. So thank you very much. Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Haribo. Thank you so much, Shripad Vaikanas Maharaj Ji. Such beautiful erudition of the Leelas of Govinda-kunda, Sri Madhavendra Puripad, who without him, we would not have nearly really anything in our Rupanu Guru Varga. And also for explaining the pastime, the ending of this Govardhan Leela pastime with the forgiveness of Indradev. There was one question in the chat, perhaps it can be answered at the end, about between the offenses between Lord Brahma and Lord Indra, which one was worse? So perhaps at the end, maybe if there's some time, then we can.
Indra's worse.
Indra's is worse. I've also heard that Brahmaji's is worse because he separated Krishna from his friends, and that Lord Indra's was not as bad because he brought all the Brajavasis together. But again, you're muted, Maharaj. Sorry.
Well, that's a deep internal perspective. I mean, people say Kansa's glorious too, because he brought, Krishna, he sent Krishna to Vrindavan. He forced Krishna to go to Vrindavan. But Lord Brahma, he's saying, oh my goodness, what you've done is even worse. I mean, he made so much effort. And
Both of them facilitated such pastimes. It's like the pastimes of Krishna taking birth from all the elderly gopis and taking birth as the cows, and then Indra cleaning and cleansing the whole of Braj to facilitate the Ras Leela to transpire.
So many angles.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
Thank you so much, Maharajji. So now we're concluding with Shripad Tridandi Maharajji again, going to Punchari and also Surabhi-kunda. So please, Maharajji, Hare Krishna.
Dandavat, Sandhavada. Thank you. Thank you. Nice. Gurudev, Guru Chandraya, Guru Chandraya. Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So yes, wonderful, wonderful pastimes we're hearing as we're walking around. So now we've left Govinda-kunda and we can come from a path close beside Giriraj now. We can walk on an inside trail and walk along right next to Giriraj is on our right as we walk around. He's always on our right. And we're still walking on the eastern banks of Govardhan. And then the first place we come to will be Naval-kunda and Apsara-kunda. These two most beautiful kunds today. They've actually been preserved to some degree because now they've moved the general parikrama path to exclude these two places. Now the general path is going prior to these two places. So these two places, by Krishna's fortune, are being left in their very beautiful condition. And it's always cows, many white cows are here, and very beautiful. These kunds manifested by the melting of the hearts of Radha and Krishna. This is called Apsara Kund. This is Apsara Kund, and it's described that there are many, that was Sankarshan Kund. This is Apsara Kund. This is Naval Kund. Yeah. So these two kunds are there where Radha and Krishna were performing Ras, just a little way north of here, because now we've come to Punchari. This is Punchari. This is Apsara Kund we're looking at now. This is Apsara Kund. It's described that there are 27 avatars always residing on the banks of Apsara Kund. It's a very, very sacred place. And it's described that Radha and Krishna, they melted in their ecstasies to become both of these kunds, Krishna as Naval Kund and Radha as Apsara Kund. So it's called Apsara because she is the most beautiful of all beautiful personalities that defeats the Apsaras in their beauty. So this is Apsara Kund and Naval Kund. Now we walk a little further inside, again, close to Giriraj, and we come to the Rasalila place, the place of the Rasalila. This is Vasant Panchami, when the Vasant Ras was being performed, not the principal Maharas of Sharad Purnima. This is a more selective Rasalila when just the principal gopis are involved in this Rasalila. This is not the full Maharas pastime of Sharad Purnima. So we'd come here with my Gurudev, and he would always reflect when he came 30, 40 years prior. I'm talking now personally 25 years ago, but Gurudev would be talking another 25 years ago. So 50 years ago, he was describing how this whole area was filled with large kadamba trees, very large kadamba trees. And my Gurudev would often be in a reflective mood and be unhappy that they had all left out of separation from the spiritual world. So they left. And it's now actually today, if you go there, I don't think that place even exists almost. They put a big dharamshala. They put there was a big temple there, but now they've put two large dharamshalas right in that area. But this is the Rasalila, and we bow down and take the dust of this place. This is just north of Apsara Kund and Naval Kund. And we're in Kitchari, Punchari, we've just turned the corner. If you look at Govardhan, sometimes we describe him like a peacock. And the feather, the plumes, the tail feathers represent Punchari. Or it can be like a cow with his head facing his stomach pulled in. But again, it's the tail end. So now we're going to come up the western side of Govardhan. We've just come down the eastern side through Anyora, Govardhan Kund, Sankarshan Kund, Apsara Kund, Naval Kund. And now we've come to the Rasastali, where the cave of Raghava Pandit is there, the Gufa. Understand that those sadhaks performing bhajan in Braj, the intensity of the heat, there were no ACs or not even any running water in there. So they would dig very large gufas, they're called, like caves under the ground. And this particular gufa is very, very deep and very narrow entrance. You have to sort of slip down, almost like a well. Now they've sealed it off, but I remember in the past we could actually go down there. And it was a very deep drop. You'd have to sort of navigate yourself down, and you come in just literally a cave, just somewhere where a sadhak would sit and perform his bhajan in the cool and quiet of under the ground, under the earth. And Raghava Pandit, it's described in Bhakti Ratnakara, he was asked by Jiva Goswami, can he please take Srinivasacharya and Narottam on parikrama? And in Bhakti Ratnakara, we should all read this beautiful description of Raghava Pandit taking these two exalted personalities on parikrama all over Braj. It's very, very beautiful. So they met Raghava Pandit there at this Rasa Stali. So we stay here for some time. We hear about the Vasant Panchami, Vasant Ras rather, and with the intimate associates, intimate gopis, the Swapaksh gopis were there only. And then we walk from here again, still on the western side of Govardhan. If you look at the formation of the rocks on the eastern side, they're quite rugged. When you come around the corner on the western side, they're much more smooth. The rocks, they seem to change their what we can see of them. They become smoother because of the sun or the rain, whatever. But it's quite different. Govardhan demonstrates the changing nature of his body. Govardhan, of course, is always changing. In the spiritual world, he's growing and growing and growing. And one time, Krishna has to slap him down to reduce him just to a single size. But Govardhan is always filled with ecstasy. So we walk through from the Rasastali and we come on our left to Surabhi-kunda or Surabhi-kunda. And this is where Surabhi Devi, who, by the way, is not that Surabhi Devi from the spiritual world. Indra did not have the adhikar to actually associate with someone from that realm. The Devas are in a completely different, limited consciousness in a sense. Their spiritual master Brihaspati is described as Brahman realized. So they don't step out of that highest conception of Brahman. They have interaction with Krishna as Vishnu, but they don't understand him at all as the supreme ultimate. They understand the supreme ultimate being the Brahman. They're following their guru. So here on the screen, we have this beautiful renovated kund now. This was only renovated, what, 10, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, perhaps. Previously, it was all dilapidated, but now it's been pulled back into a very nice condition. My Gurudev would always describe how sweet the water is here. We can drink it. And every year, we would regularly come here, and the people who were managing this kund, they would always host my Gurudev. So my Gurudev was always grateful for the local Brijvasis to offer him honor, because many times in the Gaudiya Math, that wasn't the case, because my Gurudev was speaking very boldly about these Rasik topics, which the most of the other Gaudiya Maths chose to keep in a more confidential place. But coming here, this Brijabasi family would open their doors and they would supply the whole parikrama with malpura, dripping with oil, and bananas, I think, and what else? Somebody must remind me what else we had. I think
Hot, spicy potato sabji.
that's right. So hot, Brijabasi hot, with 20 chilies in every single bowl of it. Yes, correct. I've forgotten that. Yeah, so we'd sit here with Gurudev and he would describe how Surabhi Dev had assisted Indra with his begging forgiveness. And when Indra left back for Swaraloka, even though he wasn't entirely satisfied by forgiveness, he didn't feel he'd been forgiven sufficiently, because later on he comes to Navadvip. And there's another Surabhi-kunda in Navadvip. And Surabhi Devi, she also joins Indra going across to Navadvip. But Surabhi Devi decided to remain and see more of Krishna's divine pastimes. This is like I was just explaining. Indra and all the Devas, they don't have that same faith that Krishna is that supreme. But Surabhi Devi, because she's from the celestial kingdom of cows, and the cows are automatically much closer in their relationship with Krishna and Brajendranandan, Shyam-Sundar, even though they're not coming from the transcendental world. But then they, she wanted to actually stay and see more of the pastime. So she remains here at Surabhi-kunda. And we come today and we can relish the beauty and speciality of this place. It's described, if you take Brajanaba, originally the great-grandson of Krishna, he manifested this kund. He erected all the kunds. There was hundreds of kunds around Govardhan previously. They're gradually falling into disappearing, but even 30, 40 years ago, many more of these kunds were present. But it was Brajanaba who originally manifested this Surabhi-kunda. And it's described that if one bathes there, all his anartas and Krishna prem will be bestowed upon him. This is what Srila Gurudev says in his Brajmandal Parikrama book. And this is what he used to tell us and the feelings he used to give to us, to generate that all would be forgiven if we sincerely dedicated our lives and souls to following this path of our Guru Varga. So this is Surabhi-kunda, which we remember, and we remember also simultaneously in Navadvip, where Surabhi Devi accompanied again Indradev. Indradev went across there because he wasn't quite satisfied, and he was chanting the name of Gauranga, Gauranga, Gauranga. And eventually, after many, many years, Gauranga Dev appears there, and he begs forgiveness again, understanding, acknowledging who is Gauranga, that he's non-different to Krishna, and he feels pacified then, and then he leaves back forever to Swagaloka. But again, Surabhi Devi, she stays in Surabhi-kunda. So she's actually in two places. She's here at Surabhi-kunda, and she's in Surabhi-kunda in Navadvip. So this is Surabhi Devi that we meditate on, that celestial cow that is so much a part of Krishna's pastimes. Krishna can't perform any of his pastimes without the backdrop of the beautiful cows in the cowherd village. So then from Surabhi-kunda, we walk up a little way, and on our parikrama path, after perhaps even half a mile, we start to smell rotten milk. It's very strong and all pervading in the atmosphere, because all the abhisheks with milk are being performed at Jetipur, which is the next place we come to. Jetipur is directly opposite Govinda-kunda, and traditionally thousands of gallons of milk are poured daily over these shilas there that are in Jetipur. So that milk comes down in a drain and it becomes rotten, but it smells very fragrant because it's all being utilized in serving Giriraj Maharaj. And the dogs, they relish that milk. So this is very beautiful. This is Jetipur. So from Jetipur, then we start to make our journey directly back to Giriraj Govardhan. So Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Giriraj Govardhan ki jai, Anantakota Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Govardhan ki jai.
Dhanavad Pranam Maharaj, thank you so much for speaking on Punchari and also Apsara-kund, Navakund, Surabhi-kund, a little bit of Jatipur as well. I did not know that it was the celestial Surabhi that was involved in this particular pastime, not the one all the way in Golok. So this is new information for me. So thank you.
It wasn't qualified to
Yes.
associate
Mm-hmm.
that transcendental personality. It was his,
Yeah.
her Anksi. Her Anksi is described. Actually, I have these verses I can post afterwards, where Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur is very clearly explaining this in his commentary. It's in the 10th canto. Yeah. 10:27, 18.
10:27:80. Okay.
So
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Thank you. And also thank you to all of the amazing our sannyasigan, our illustrious sannyasigan for guiding us on this virtual parikrama. today. So I want to ask Nityananda Prabhu if you could please unmute to do the final kirtan, and then we will conclude our parikrama for today. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, it's off.
Okay. Sri Govardhana Maharaja, Maharaja, Tere Mate Mukuta Viraja Rahyo. Sri Govardhana Maharaja, Maharaja, Tere Mate Mukuta Viraja Rahyo. Tere Kanana Kundala Sohera He. Tere Kanana Kundala Sohera He. Ora Ghala Bhaja Janti Mala, O Mala. Tere Mate Mukuta Viraja Rajo. Tere Mukha Pai Muralia Soharahi. Tere Mukha Pai Muralia Soharahi. Tori Pai Hiralala Olala Olala. Tere Mate Mukuta Viraja Rahyo. Tere Angame Jama Keshariya. Tere Angame Jama Keshariya. Ora Patakala Golala Golala. Tere Mate Mukuta Viraja Rajo. Tope Panachare or Polachare. Tope Panachare or Polachare. Tope Dije Jare Dinarhata Dinarhata. Tere Mate Mukuta Viraja Rahyo. Tere Manasi Ganga Nikatavahe. Tere Manasi Ganga Nikatavahe. Tope Chare Duka Kidhara Kidhara. Tere Mukata Tere Mate Mukuta Viraja Rayo. Govardhana Maharaja. Tere Mate Mukuta Viraja Rayo. Teri Sata Kosha ki parikrama. Tere Sata Kosha ki parikrama. Ora Chakale Shivara Vishrama Vishrama. Tere Mate Mukuta Viraja Rahyo. Shri Govardhana Maharaja Maharaja. Tere Mate Mukuta Viraja Rahyo. Jaya Gogiri Raja Jaya Govardhana Jaya Govardhana Jaya Brindavana Jaya Giri Raja Jaya Govardhana Jaya Govardhana Jaya Brindavana Jaya Radha-kunda Jaya Shama-kunda Jaya Radha-kunda Jaya Shama-kunda Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Srila Gurudeva Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Haribol Haribol Haribol. Nitai Gaura Haribol Nitai Gaura Haribol Haribol Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Sri Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai, Jai Jai Sri Radhe Shyam.
Jai. Dandavats. Thank you so much, Nityananda Prabhu, for singing such wonderful kirtan. This kirtan is very ecstatic. I'm remembering one video where all of even the sannyasis all were dancing so much when I believe this is it Damodar Prabhu, when he would sing this. So very, very special bhajan, very special kirtan. So just thanking everyone so much for attending today's parikrama. So please be sure to join tomorrow for day 14. And as we continue in the Govardhan area. So my Dandavat Pranam to all of you. Vancha kalpatarubhyashta kripa sindhubhya vacha patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Thank you so much, Shripad Tidandi Maharaj, Shripad Vaikanas Maharaj, and Shripad Shuddhadvaiti Maharaj for all of their guidance. And ultimately, thank you to our Srila Gurudev, our Srila Prabhupada, and our Rupanu Guru Varga for allowing us to be able to participate in this Manasi Parikrama. Hare Krishna, Radhe Radhe.